and to assume among the powers of the earth the separate and equal station to which the laws of nature and nature's God entitle them. A decent respect to the opinions of mankind requires that they should declare the causes which impel them to the separation. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, that to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed, that whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or abolish it, and to institute new government, laying its foundation on such principles and organizing its powers in such form as to them shall seem most likely to affect their safety and happiness. Prudence indeed will dictate that governments long established should not be changed for light and transient causes, and accordingly all experience has shown that mankind are more disposed to suffer, while evils are sufferable, than to right themselves by abolishing the forms to which they are accustomed. But when a long train of abuses and usurpations, pursuing invariably the same object of design to reduce them under absolute despotism, it is their right, it is their duty to throw off such government and to provide new guards for their future security. Such has been the patient sufferance of these colonies, and such is now the necessity which constrains them to alter their former systems of government. The history of the present King of Great Britain is a history of repeated injuries and usurpations. All have in direct object the establishment of absolute tyranny over these states. To prove this, let facts be submitted to a candid world.
That's very interesting here on July 4th to read what happened 233 years ago. And I again, and Brian, I'm sure you agree with me, we need patriots today. It's time for people to stand up with what's happening. Our forefathers would roll over hearing what is happening in our country today. We're going to go ahead and go to the phones, and we have a caller on the line. Brad, how you doing today?
I'm fine, Farron. It's good to talk to you guys again. It's pretty amazing to me, on a personal note. I had just walked out to my truck and got my handbook with the copy of the Declaration of Independence. I was going to read a segment in the second paragraph to the public here so that it might give them the courage to stand up and represent themselves, because this document that was drawn up by our forefathers to give us a guideline, to give us a written word so that we would know how to handle a situation like we're in right now. It was great of Brian to read that, but it said that to secure the rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed. That means right there that the government is set up to do for the people. It works for us. It doesn't work for themselves. That's one of the biggest problems right now. When I listen to our representatives and our senators and the folks in the legislative branch of our government act and speak, they feel like that they are doing us a favor, that they're in charge of us and they're running this country for us. And it's really the other way around. And this has got to be the focus of what people take in and try to change in our world right now, is the control that the government has tried to take over us instead of for us. They're not governing us, they are controlling us. Now, I listened this weekend, and this is a perfect example of what our present administration has done. The people that helped them build the power that put them in the office, they turned their back on them. And it was good to hear, because the media got slapped in the face in a press briefing before Mr. Obama was supposed to go to Abington, Virginia to do a town forum meeting. They questioned the Mr. Givens and ask him why they could not ask certain questions, that the form was predetermined what the questions would be and who the people would be that would ask them. They also pinned his ears back on the point that the last time that they had a free-form speech, they were called in advance the night before, and the reporters that were going to speak were given questions that they could ask. Now, this is not free speech in America. This is not our government responding to the individuals or to the community or to the country itself. This is the government putting forth a thumb down on top of us and forcing us to behave the way that they see fit. And that's what's
just as the gentleman in the video had said, our servants have become our masters, and the American people have gotten far too used to doing nothing.
I agree, and I think you make some great points, Brad, because we are seeing a controlled media to the extent we've never seen before, and it's actually being reported, just like what you're saying. It's being reported that, I guess the proper way to call it is that these press briefings are being staged.
Exactly, because there is an agenda there. Unfortunately, they do enough to say that people are being represented. They're not. It's amazing, as bad as things are, and as far off the mark as what the President administration said they were going to do, he's still got a 63% approval rate. That means people are blinding themselves to what's going on. And I can't emphasize enough how people have to recognize that we can implement a change. And I'm not saying let's change and overthrow our government. I say this all the time. We need to improve our government. We need to change the way the direction is going. If we don't, we are going to lose control. Now, I'd like to ask you one question. This is a topic that came up this week, and I'm going to be quick about it because there's others, but this is something I heard that I have never heard before. We have a star approaching our atmosphere that is going to change the... It's so dense a piece of mass is coming at us that its electronic or magnetic pull is going to change the orbit of our planet. It's on wormwood. Have you heard anything about this, Farron?
I've heard a little bit about it. It's supposed to possibly change the polarity.
In 2012, this is confirmed by NASA. This isn't any conspiracy theory, that the Earth is going to re-enter the galactic plane, meaning it's precisely in line with the entire galaxy. It kind of wobbles up and down over time, but 2012 will be precisely there. And when this has happened before throughout the history of our planet,
26,000 years.
26,000 years? The polarity has reversed
years.
From the North Pole, South Pole, back and forth. So there's speculation that may affect other things. I mean, who knows what will happen.
Brad, we're coming up on a break. We're going to have to let you go and take some more phone calls, but we will look into that. Brian seems to know a little more about it than I do, but I have heard that. And 2012.
I'll talk to you today about it during the tea bag.
Oh, glad to see you there. And 2012, there is a lot of different things that is happening with the Mayan calendar, Nostradamus predictions, and December 21st, the winter solstice. There's a lot of things supposedly going to be transforming in 2012, so it's very interesting.
There's a new movie coming out 2012.
So thank you so much, Brad. We are going to be coming up on a break, and we do have some other phone callers waiting. So, again, if you'd like to call in during today's broadcast, let me give out the number once again, 1-866-986-6397. Go ahead and call in before we go off the air. We'll be back in 3 minutes here on The Real News with Farron and Brian.